Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Chris Orme, and today we're here with Starters Order 7. Not usual video. This is a little bit of a bonus where I started talking to somebody on our Discord. Link is in the description, of course. Come along and join. We've got a little community building there. I think 50 odd people now have signed up. And one of the things that we like to do is share screenshots and tales from each other's games, and of course you can see my games here. Everything I do, pretty much in terms of racing and in terms of all my good horses, you'll hear about it here. Now and again there'll be an odd little one in the breeding save. I'll take a screenshot, put it up in the Discord channel, sometimes even on the official forums. But for other people who don't have a YouTube series, and maybe you don't get to see or hear about their games, or hear how they run their games, like, that's a great place to do it, is on the Discord. So I do encourage you to come down and check that out. But one of the viewers, Phil, Jumpsman on the Discord, he started posting some pictures, and he was posting pictures of a horse that I have to admit looks very, very good. In fact, I'm insanely curious at this point as to how good that horse is. The horse is named Nonagon Infinity, and I think it could beat Saffron Fang. Now, that's a bold claim when Saffron Fang's out here absolutely murdering races. And at time recording, we've just run the Arc de Triomphe and won it by 2 lengths. The Quipco by 6.5. The Travers was 6 3/4. The Belmont Invitational was 9 lengths. The Takarazuka Keenan was 5 lengths. The Belmont was 2 1/4. The Preakness was 6 3/4. And the Kentucky Derby was 7 3/4 lengths. So, when I say this horse could possibly beat Saffron Fang, I mean, I think that horse could possibly beat Saffron Fang. So, we look really good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take Saffron Fang and just steal that bar. And we're going to go here, and we're going to steal that bar. And we're going to compare. We're going to compare the horses. Now, my first thought was, let's see if I can put it on the transfer list. I asked Phil for a copy of the save. And let's see if we can do it then by being able to put it on the transfer list and being able to perhaps, bring it into this game. And we can compare side by side, and maybe we could race Nonagon. Maybe I can export both of them, and I can have a season of them both racing side by side, or run 2 separate saves with only that horse in each, and just see how well they run. And then I was thinking we can export horses, and we can do that. But I've got a copy of his save, and because of that, we can't export a horse. And when we do export a horse, we're not able to get it back. It doesn't actually appear in the list, and it doesn't seem to work properly. So sharing saves and transfer files is still not allowed. And that's a shame, because the message I'm getting here is, you have multiple licenses in the same machine, or have installed both web and Steam version and are sharing the save export files, or you're attempting to use third-party save or export files. Exports will not be available until this is resolved. Okay, there's reasons for this. I get that. But if I'm playing on a web client and Steam client version, so if I bought the game through the official website and through Steam, and I'm playing different saves in either one, I cannot take a horse from one to the other, even though I own both games and they're on the same license and everything else. I can't do that. There may be reasons for it, but as far as I can tell, the Steam version is exactly the same as this version, except perhaps maybe a patch or two behind sometimes. Perhaps the regular game gets patched a little quicker than Steam does. It's got an extra process to go through. I understand that. But I don't think that should be game-breaking to allow that. Multiple licenses on the same machine. I don't know why that might be an issue if two people use the same machine, and rather than just one person buying the game and they both playing it, they both have a license. They both buy it and they both install it and both play it. Like, I don't see how that hurts Mark, who owns and designs and builds the game. I'm not sure why that would necessarily be a bad thing. There could be some conflicts that come up that I'm not really thinking of, multiple licenses on the same machine. So, again, we give that a pass. You're attempting to use third-party or export files. That's exactly what we're doing. And I don't really get why that is still not allowed. Now, I do understand why it shouldn't be allowed in Starters Order 6. Because there's this thing here called a league game. And the league is an online competition between all these trainers who basically, you set up a league game, you start breeding, you get good horses, you export them out, you send them to someone online on a website, you upload them, and basically that person uploads them and they run trial races between everybody's horses. And that's the way that your horse can compete against somebody else's horses. And that's what they do. And it's a very fun sort of thing. I signed up for it. I booked some races that never ended up running. Or that I never ended up running. I pulled the horses out. I never got that far to it. But it's an exciting thing to do, and it's fun, and it's cool. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And to stop cheating, they don't like you to breed from anybody else's horses, and there's ways of telling if a horse has been. Even if it's generations down the line, you've imported and exported horses, and, you know, no matter how far down it is, you are told that you will be able to be caught if you use someone else's horse, or you use a legend to breed from via hacks or whatever. There is a way in that horse file which is easily identifiable, that they can tell that you've done that and disqualify you from the league and ban you and so on and so forth. And I totally agree with that, and I totally think that is an amazing thing, that they are able to, even 100 generations of horse breeding later, say that you use somebody else's horse to breed from, this is ineligible, you done goofed. I'm on board, 100%. In Starters Order 7, they introduced the League game mode, which this is talking about. And you cannot export a horse for the League unless you are in the League mode. It's an even further protection. And I don't believe the League mode allows transfer files. I don't believe it allows you to see the actual stats of the horse sometimes. There's a bunch of things it does. I'm not entirely sure what, because I've never used it, because I don't play the League. But there's a bunch of stuff in there that, again, makes it a little bit tougher and makes you work for it so that, you know, that league competition is kept as honest, as pristine, and as competitive as possible. And I am on board for that 1,000%. I am in. Yes, that is amazing. Great idea. But with all that being said, they've got a league mode where there is no way of sharing horses between the two. It simply cannot be done. And not only can it not be done, but even if you manage to do it somehow, they can catch you and ban you. Like, there is zero reason to do it or get away with it And yet, even with that, if you do get somebody else's horses somehow, the game stops you from using them. And, like, that's the part I don't quite get. Now, this might just be a holdover from the pre-league mode days and the pre-sort of check days that they've got on the league and so on, so forth. I can get that. Mark is one person. He's trying to update a lot of stuff. He's trying to update the graphics of the race day. He's trying to update the look of the game, some of the features in the game. He completely overhauled the breeding for Starters Order 7. There's an idea that, there's going to be either brand new patches coming out soon or some sort of DLC over the next couple of years rather than release a brand new game. Just a cheaper sort of DLC to update things and install new features or something along that line. I'm on board for that. That's fine. He's a busy guy. He's one person. He does the sounds, which I'm not a fan of, but kudos to him. He does all the graphics, which they look okay. Some of them could do with a little makeover, reskin of the game, but that's fine. They work. They look clean. They look nice. A couple of bits have been updated from 6 to 7. The amount of work that goes into building tracks and testing and putting things together and the scheduling and, like, overhauling the breeding system, the entire coding of the game. Like, this is all one guy. There's so much work that goes into it, and I totally understand that. And then it's updating the website and trying to keep a presence on the forums and trying to make sure that the league crowd are happy and trying to make sure that the single-player crowd are happy. There's an Android game. There's the jockey racing game. There's the, all these different things. It's trying to make sure it's multi-platform compliant and dealing with Steam and getting things up on there. And when you patch the game, the amount of work that goes, I get it. I totally get it. One guy doing everything. But this should not be a thing. This should be, somewhere should be written out of the game. Because I don't see who it hurts for me to take Phil's horse and put it in my game. And what I really wanted to do as part of that was give Phil Saffron Fang. I wanted to swap the horses, and I wanted to run Saffron Fang in his game, and he could breed from it and see what he got and compare what I got from Saffron Fang. And, like, I take Nonagon Infinity off him and give him my horse, take his horse, and again, breed from it and see kind of how my horses I got with my dams, perhaps, compared to how he bred. But you can't do that. And I wanted to export both horses and run them in the CK, and you can't do that. It just doesn't allow you to do that. And I'm a little bit upset with that because, again, I just think that should be allowed. I don't play League. I don't play online. None of it. I do have Phil Civ. And this is Phil Civ. And it loads up and it's fine. And I can't retire anyone to the transfer list. I can't export a horse. I can't do anything with them. So it sucks that my idea of being able to show you a race between some of these horses. He's got a 140 rated horse called Evil Death Roll. He's got a very nice sort of 4-year-old here who's the champion 4-year-old apparently at 132. And then there's the horse I'm talking about, which is Nonagon Infinity. And why do I like this horse? Why was I interested in this horse? Because Phil ran in the Kentucky Derby with it, and you can see, it's kind of similar. 7 1/4, it wins the Derby. he took it to the Preakness on 4 3/4. It doesn't like short distances. It likes longer distances. I think this is going to be a beast at a mile 3, mile 4. Whereas, for my money, I think Saffron Fang be better at a mile 2, mile 1. So I think there's a little bit of overlap between the two horses, but distance might determine which one is better. You can see that, but we won the Brooklyn by about 2. It went 10 1/4. It went 10 1/4 in the Brooklyn, which is the Belmont. And he went for the Grand Prix de Paris, 10 1/4. Sword Dancer Invitational, 3.5 there, 4 1/4 at the Arc de Triomphe, which we just ran and won by a couple of lengths ourselves. And again, just like 1 mile 4 seems to be a real good place for it. The Invitational there, we got the BC Turf, like just smashing it 4 lengths every single time. Hong Kong Derby at a mile 2, 9.5 lengths. Like, this is an absolutely phenomenal horse. Absolutely phenomenal. And it looks real good. It looks real good. So, let me just go ahead and steal that. And get these in place. So there we go, Nonagon on the left. And Saffron Fang on the right. 3-year-old versus 4-year-old. And you can see they're similar. They are similar. Training, jumps, everything. There's not that much difference between them. 10% ability potential. Looks like Nonagon matured really quickly. Took Saffron Fang a little time. But still, fairly similar. Juvenile constitution, very, very similar. And then we start getting a little bit different. There's more adaptability to Nonagon than there is to Saffron. Perhaps that's, what's going to give Nonagon a bit of an advantage. But full consistency, full finish. They both sit at 40 enthusiasm. They both sit 80 deterioration. There's a touch more extra speed on Saffron Fang. There's like 3 to 4% more. And that's about it. They both sit very, very similar here in terms of their cruising burst. And Saffron Fang has a ton more confidence. That's it. They're almost identical in a lot of ways. They're almost identical in a lot of ways. And then you've got horses here. You see their stats. Their speed is much different. Like, Saffron Fang wins on this screen. Better speed, better acceleration, better start. Nonagon would be a decent jump source. It'd be a decent jump source, which Saffron Fang just wouldn't be. But the stamina is similar. And while I do think the Saffron Fang has the edge over a mile 1 for sure, probably over a mile 2, I think they'll be highly competitive, but it starts swinging then probably in Nonagon's favour at a mile 3, and I think Nonagon wins fairly easily at a mile 4. But sadly, thanks to the way the game's set up, I don't think we can actually tell. I really don't think we can actually tell. But I thought it was amazing how similar these two horses were in terms of their stats and in terms of the results they were getting. Not only the races won, but the distances those races were won by. So I've got to hand some credit to Phil here. If you look, he's got his breeding in. You got some absolutely phenomenal horses in here. And sadly, they're all here. We can't actually export them to a transfer list because I think they already have been. I really like Dixie. I really do. I think that's probably the cream of the crop for me as a 2-year-old. But yeah, really nice horses. Really solid horses that would definitely make it in my game. Even like Curiosity. Let's have a look. Like really solid, 70 potential, 80 extra speed, full finish, full consistency. So much adaptability. I really, really like that. Separation as well. Very solid. You know, I'd love to introduce a couple of these into some of my saves. Then we got the 3-year-old, who look, again, just absolutely amazing. This is a very, very good stable. And one thing I do notice is so many great female horses as well, which, you know, isn't really something that happens for us sometimes. But Lady Fantasy, low consistency. That's the first one of the entire stables that doesn't really sort of hit home. Gamma Knife, though, I wanted to see that as well in some C-Key races against Saffron Fang over a mile 2. I thought that might be interesting. See exactly how they ran and how good they might be. We got Great Britain, another nice filly. Then we're back on the Colts. And imagine a couple of these perhaps being bred to our horses and seeing just what comes out of it. Very, very good. And then King Gizzard, very good as well. Could be an interesting sire. And Evil Death Roll, the other 140 rated, who, 17 Group 1 wins, again over that mile 2 range. Phil's been able to breed really well for that range. And yeah, I thought that would be very interesting to see exactly how they all lined up. But right now, I can't make it work. And that sucks. It does. But, yeah, if anybody out there knows of a possible workaround for that, do let me know, because I would love to be able to test them against each other and show you the results. But I thought it was worth jumping into the save here and at least showing off what Phil's got going on. Everybody's in fall as well to Nonagon. I think he's finished this season, and he's got the results of this breeding in the end of the season. But even here you can see absolute fantastic horses in here. And I think I can't export them to a transfer list because he's already exported them onto a transfer list and into this game, and then you can't take them back out. I've got a feeling that might be the case. This is where all his good breeding horses ended up. So that's possibly why we can't. So if I go to the yearlings, I can actually take those. I can actually export those. I'm not sure exactly what it would do. I'm going to back up everything, and I might need to do possibly a full reinstall of my game and everything. But some of these horses are up there with what we breed and how we've bred. Some don't quite make it to my list, the low potential. A little low ability sometimes, but I know Star Rocco is one I quite liked. So, yeah, there's a few here I think would be really interesting. But I can export these yearlings and sort of see where they go. So my hope is I'm going to start a new transfer list. I'm going to export some of these. And then, if there are any that get bred out of Nonagon Infinity that look as good or as close to Nonagon Infinity as possible, I might put those on the transfer list. And we may not compare them as racers. We may not compare them really in terms of records. They run on 2 different schedules. Phil runs his own schedule, so there is that. But what we might be able to do is actually run them in terms of comparing their foals. And that depends on the mares, sure, but if I'm able to export the foals of Nonagon Infinity, I might not be able to take the horse itself, but I'll be able to take the foals and put them in my game. And put them alongside my horses that I get from Saffron Fang. And I can put those 2 in the breeding barn. And then we'll see which one was the better breeder. Right now, I think that's the only way I can judge these 2. That's the only option that's actually open to me, sadly. So, I do implore Mark to please remove that limitation, allow us to share horses between each other if we're not connected to the league. You can't play the league without the league mode game, so just make sure that we can't share horses in a league mode game. I think that's the only check the game needs to make. Is it a league mode game? Great. No transfers. No transfers in or out whatsoever. And then just remove the restrictions, which mean that I can't import or export somebody else's horses or get them sent to me or copy someone's transfer list. I don't know why that limitation still applies. It just limits and isolates people. And I'd really, it's a single player game. We can't cheat anything. We can only cheat ourselves. We all do the money cheat. We all do the transfer list avoidance cheat, where we don't lose horses on the transfer list. And when we put them on the transfer list, we don't lose them from the game. Like, there's so many ways that we can cheat the game to make the argument, in my opinion, of making it realistic and keep it realistic for people fairly nonsensical. So I don't believe that would be a fair reason to say why I can't take someone else's horse. And it does, in fact, improve realism in my mind, where it's like I'm bringing in someone else's stud to my breeding barn. But I'm not doing it in-game. I'm not doing it as a game-bred stud. But I'm bringing someone else's in. And I could bring Nonagon into my game and just do it that way. Yeah, there might be problems with it. There may be things I'm not thinking of. That's totally acceptable, totally fine. I do understand. But if there's a way of doing it so that the league is protected, I'm on board. But this is something I'd really like to do. I really want to run these two in a trial. I want to take them to the CK and trial them over a mile 1, a mile 2, a mile 3, a mile 4, a mile 5, and a mile 6. That was my goal. I was going to put Evil Death Roll in, and I was also going to put in the champion horse, Gamma Knife. And I might put another couple in from my save. Say 3 from each. And run them and see who was the best at each distance and would have had a breakdown and maybe looked at all the stats on why one was better than the other. But, like, I can take Phil's save and I can play the hell out of it. I can. But the sad thing is, because this is on Phil's... Now, this has been imported by Phil into this game. I believe, I'll have to check, I can't export it back out. I can't put it on the transfer list. I do have new horses on the transfer list from another breeding sale. You see, Gabrielle the Prince isn't the only one on here now. I'm slowly starting to work my way through that. But yeah, we might just have to take the foals from each and see where they go. So I'm not entirely sure. I'm just sad that I couldn't bring you the video I wanted to bring you today. If there is a way somebody knows of doing it, please do get in contact. You can hit me up here on YouTube. You can find my email address through YouTube. If you look in the channel details, you can hit me up on Twitter at Chris Ormy. You can jump into the Discord and send me a DM so nobody knows. Just join the Discord, click on me, my name somewhere on the list, send message. You don't need to out yourself. You don't need to, worry about anything if it's not entirely, legal within the terms of the game, and if it's hacking or whatever. I don't know what could be done. But if there is a way to do it, I would like to do it. And I'd love for the game to allow me to do it. So let's hope Mark has plans to do that. Or if not, that perhaps we can persuade him to look in that direction. Because there was a time in Starters Order 6 we were able to swap transfer files. And the only thing that it hurt, I think, was the league. That was the only thing. But like I say, if they can identify that and ban people for it, then that's no longer an issue in my mind. Plus, you got the league-only mode where if you just remove the ability to bring horses from another game in for that league mode and only that league mode, then it can't hurt the league. and I don't see how it hurts us. So, yeah, perhaps there's something else to it. I'd love to know. But if there is a way around it, I'd love to bring you the rest of this video as planned. Until such times, I'm afraid that, that's not going to be possible. And that really sucks because, kudos to Phil. This is an excellent stable full of phenomenal horses. Some of them are right up there with my very best. And Nonagon Infinity looks so close in terms of stats and so close in terms of the races we're running and the margins that they're winning. I would have loved to have seen that run today and figured out just how good this horse is, because I think, as I say, there's a chance it could be as good or better than Saffron Fang. And it's taken me a long time to get Saffron Fang. It's taken me probably 15 to 20 generations of breeding now throughout all these YouTube saves. And Phil's given me some credit over my videos being an inspiration to how he's put his game together and what he's learned to do and not to do, and kind of the road that's got Nonagon Infinity. But it does seem to have taken him far less time than me, which is slightly disappointing on my end that it's taken me so long to get here. And other people are getting better results with my methods than I am. Well, that's life. That's kind of how that thing works. You got to expect that sometimes. But yeah, there's been a lot of trial and error along the way to bring these. That's why I wanted the breeding save out, so that you can possibly put something like this together yourself. And like I say, if this is what Phil can do, and Phil learned how to edit a schedule as well. He's put together his own schedule, which includes more Grade 1 races in a default American schedule, and it really works for him, and that's phenomenal. It looks like it could be a great thing to do in terms of breeding saves, because if it gets you these kind of horses this quick, hey, more power to you. That is absolutely amazing. That was the goal of my breeding videos, to give you the knowledge that I figured out, that it's taken me years to figure out, and that I don't think the game really explains in the best way sometimes, like ability and potential rather than absolute and realized potential. Just confused me. For years that confused me, and I never really figured out why. And you call it absolute potential, but it changes. It changes. How can it be absolute when year to year that number changes? Something in me really dislikes that, which is why I explain it in different ways, and why perhaps my line of thinking with extra speed and consistency and a full finish bar as a necessity. There's all these things I've come to that other people disagree with, and again, what works for you, that's great. But that was the idea behind the breeding save we just completed. And then I saw these horses. Phil was kind enough to send me the save. Sadly, we couldn't do what we wanted to do with it. But I wanted to show it off and, tip my hat to Phil, and this is what you can do too. I wish all of you a save like this. I wish all of you horses like this. And the way Phil explained it to me was, Nonagon is an amazing horse. He'd love to see him and Saffron Fang. He thinks Saffron Fang wins. I'm really not that sure. I think it's a lot tighter than perhaps even Phil thinks. And it's an amazing horse. And he said, I sent you the save. There's also another 140 called Evil Death Roll, who is nowhere near as good. And I thought, okay, nowhere near as good. And I look at the horse and I'm like, okay, not a full finish application, but that's a fine horse. And then I start picking through the save, and I'm like, why isn't Gammonite mentioned? The champion 4-year-old. All three of them are 4-year-old, but Gammonite's a champion 4-year-old. What about King Gizzard? Why wasn't King Gizzard mentioned? That's a very, very good 4-year-old. And I just started going through and some of these 2-year-olds, like I say, I absolutely adore. absolutely adore, and I would love to have them in my stables, but not going to be the case. Not going to be able to race them against my horses. Not going to be able to figure that out right now unless somebody out there has ideas. So hit me up, send them, comment section below, at Chris Orme. You can send me a DM on Twitter as well. You can join the Discord and send me a message there. If you've got an idea or you know how to do it or whatever, step-by-step instructions, please do let me know. But at the moment, I'm not sure what the next step to take is there. But that is a phenomenal save, Phil. Well done. Some phenomenal mares. Some phenomenal breeding you can do. And I think that's what I'm going to do in this save. I'm going to put all these fillies into the breeding barn. And then I'm probably going to... You've already bred them from Nonagon Infinity. I'm probably going to breed them from one or two others. I'm not sure. I'll take a look at the colts here and figure out who I want to breed from, if anybody. And then I'm just going to see what kind of results we get. Because I got a feeling that some of these are going to be absolutely mind-blowing in terms of how good these foals are. And if I can keep putting them on the transfer list without an issue, then very happy to do so. And like I say, we'll be able to bring those into the game and test the bloodlines against each other. Which, again, I think also has some good storyline because we've got the Nonagon bloodline. I don't know where Nonagon Infinity comes from and what the bloodline really is. So if Phil wants to say in the comments below, I'd appreciate that. But at the same time, we've got the Mariana bloodline, which has led all the way down to Saffron Fang. And we've seen that develop on screen. So this could be a nice little way of either complementing that bloodline by breeding them together or just comparing the side-by-side horses. And each foal, each generation that they both produce, that could be kind of fun as well. So we'll see where we go and what we can do, but I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to flood Phil's breeding barn with these fillies, and we're going to breed them all this year from Nonagon, and then perhaps we'll breed them from a horse like Morocco next season. Lowish enthusiasm, but a really nice horse there. Just see what we get over a couple of generations, and then probably put those on the transfer list and get those into one of my games, and we'll see how they go. So, yeah, sadly no racing, no comparisons, but let me know what you think. Who is the better horse, Nonagon Infinity or Saffron Fang? I think, like I say, it's really, really close. The stats are eerily similar. Nonagon's a year older. There's a tiny bit better jumping ability, matured a ton quicker, and the adaptability's up. But we do lack a little bit of confidence on the horse. There is that. And I think Saffron Fang just had much better speed, acceleration, and start. Well, much better speed, a little bit better acceleration and start, but less jumping, which it's a flat save I don't care about too much. But I think they're so eerily similar. He's had so much success. But yeah, kudos, Phil. Thank you very much for sending the save. I'm sorry it didn't work out as I planned. But if I do get that, we will revisit this. And if I can somehow get Nonagon and Saffron Fang in the same save, that would be amazing. If not, if I can just export them both and race them in the CK, that would be amazing. But I'm not sure quite how I can do that right now. So, as I say, hit me up if you do know. If you do have a save you want me to take a look at in one of these little videos as well, if you think you've got a horse out there that can beat Nonagon Infinity or beat Saffron Fang for how good their bars look and how good they race, hit me up. Let me know in the comment section below, or join the Discord and, like I say, send me a message there. I'll tell you what files you need to send me, how to get to them, how to, not damage your save while you're doing it, and I will break down your save, your horse, and compare them as best I can. And if we can figure out this issue, whether it gets patched out in the future or whether there's a way around it that someone lets me know, I will be able to race not only Nonagon Infinity and Saffron Fang, but perhaps your horse in that very same race too. We can build a little community race if we can figure out how to do it. Please, Mark, please show me the way. I'd love to be able to do that for all these people. And yeah, we'll be able to see what happens. So let me know if you think you got something great that you want to show off. But yeah, until then, I think we're just going to have to do that and just show them off and not be able to race them. So, bit of a shame, but hey, let me know. Comment section down below. Hit subscribe, like button while you're down there. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully, we'll see somebody else's save soon. But, damn fine horses. Very good horses. And it just goes to show with a little bit of work, putting in the breeding save, what kind of results you can get. And yes, Nonagon's an outlier, Saffron Fang's an outlier, but my God, like I thought I had like an all-time great legendary horse. I thought I had a real-life Secretariat with kind of the distances we won. I mean, Secretariat's a horse I love, and it's, you know, its Kentucky Derby wasn't mind-blowing. It beat Sham by 2.5 lengths, and then the third horse was 8 lengths back. Now, our native finished in third, and that's like 10.5 lengths back on Secretariat and like 8 lengths back on Sham. But our native was a very decent horse. And heading to the Preakness, Secretariat won by 2.5 lengths, and Sham was in second, and 8 lengths behind Sham was our native. And it's kind of weird that both races had the same top threes in the same order by the same lengths. First time that had ever happened, and that's like part of the beauty of the story of the Triple Crown and Secretariat. And like Sham was a monster, an absolute monster. At the Belmont, Sham kind of faded and sort of ended up at the back of the pack, and that was a big thing. And Secretariat won by 31 lengths. Let me say that again, 31 lengths. If you don't know why I love Secretariat, in the toughest race, the killer of Triple Crowns, Secretariat won by 31 lengths. Now, of course, neither Nonagon Infinity or my own Saffron Fang hit 31 lengths. But when you look at it, it's like 2.5, 31. Okay, so that's just how good Secretariat was. On the day, just amazing, and perhaps the rest weren't running well. I don't know exactly what happened there. Greatest of all time versus a good field. I think that's how you describe that. On game, that would never happen. But what you do get is about 10 lengths. If you can hit 10 to 11, 12 lengths, that's kind of the same level of imbalance as that Belmont must have been for Secretariat. We hit 7.6, 6.6, and 2.2 in our winning margins. And I thought that's like amazing. And I'm looking here at Nonagon, 7.2. So we won ours by almost half a length more than Nonagon Infinity did. We look at the Preakness, and 6.6 against 4.6, that's 2 whole lengths. Saffron Fang won better than Nonagon Infinity. Which is why I think shorter distances are on our side, longer distances are on theirs, because when we dip down to 2.2, Nonagon kicks it up to 10. 10 and a quarter, apparently. But, you know, 10 point something. And that really reminded me of that step up in the Belmont / Brooklyn, because of the game. That step up that Secretariat itself did. 2.5, 2.5, 31. 7.2, 4.6, 10 and a quarter. Like, Nonagon's had that same journey. And like I say, we weren't bad, but we don't run as well over a mile 4. So, looks like Phil's got another one of those legends in their midst as well. So, phenomenal stuff. If I can, I'll bring you, as I say, those races. And if you do send me your stuff as well, if we can figure it out, we'll have a big race. Like, we'll have everything. We'll have, 20 horses. If 20 people send me their best horses, we figure out how to export them. I'll have 20 horses at a mile. 1 mile 1, 1 mile 2, 1 mile 3, 1 mile 4, 1 mile 5, 1 mile 6. Maybe even we'll do a 6 furlong in there as well. Maybe we won't do a mile 5. Maybe we'll just go mile 4 to a mile 6 and then down to 6 furlongs. And just do like a whole episode of those races with a field of 20 and see who gets crowned in each. Our own mini league, as it were. So there's got to be a way of doing it because they can do it in the league. Whether I need something to do that, whether we can sort of figure something out, let me know. But I really want to get that going and show all y'all exactly what can be done. But yep. Breeding Save is live. Go check it out for hints and tips that maybe will help you get to this point. I wish you all the best of luck. I wish you good health. Wish you wealth, success, and happiness. A horse like Nonagon Infinity, like Saffron Fang, or like the almighty Secretariat or Frankel in your game. Till such times, thank you very much for the support. Continued. Really do appreciate it. I'll see you all next time. Join the Discord. Get involved. Have some fun. And I'll see you soon.